Hey, this is LuKus and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about something that has a large scope, and what I've done is I've tried to break it down into different videos because if I didn't, it would go on for hours and hours, and I know that sometimes it's hard to watch this stuff and keep the attention span going. So I'm trying to break it down, and there'll be a few videos that are along the line of what I'm talking about today. And what I'm talking about is that basically that I don't think anybody truly understands what is actually taking place now with this great reboot. And that's what I'm calling it. I'm not calling it, what it's normally called, because I'll probably have my video pulled. But it's just know this, the 2030 great reboot. And like I said, it's truly bigger than what anybody can wrap their mind around. It's going to be, it's basically, it's the changing of our entire civilization. We're not talking about with this great reboot, we're not talking about just the end of the dollar as the world reserve currency, where maybe people are having to drive electric cars because of climate change, or the new BRICS nations that'll soon, be controlling the world like we did with our reserve currency. It's not about that. It's basically, it's just something so much bigger, and people won't be able to, I don't think people are able to comprehend it because they actually don't pay attention to all the stories and tie them all together. And again, we're talking about the total change in how human civilization exists. So everything we know, from the way we eat, drink water, grow food, how and where we live and travel, how we are born and how we die, our religion, our money, work, and how and where we get our information will be totally wiped away and forgotten. Everyone will be bred to have every need provided to them by a global cabal of corporations and that are owned by a few elite. So imagine everything that you know right now, everything being completely erased. It's happening, and it's going to lead towards another dark age. And right now we see all these small changes going on everywhere. It seems like every day there's 100 things that happen that never used to happen 5 or 10 years ago. But in order to change the way society exists, it has to happen slowly over a period of years. If it was overnight, it would be too much of a shock or a change, and society would not accept it. So basically they have to boil the frog slowly and do it step by step, and you'll never notice. So, and how long does this total change in civilization take? Will it take 5 years, 30 years? Who knows? But we're seeing the seeds being planted for what is to come. But it's staggering the amount of change that's already happened from like 2020. When 2020 came, everything started changing. And there's been a lot of change in the last few years. And can you even imagine? So everything that they've been talking about, I had to kind of go off my script a little bit, my notes. But everything they've been talking about, what's coming by 2030, smart cities, you'll own nothing, be happy, censorship on the internet. Now, that is just the first phase of this. So imagine what the next phase is of this reboot, because they're not going to stop here at 2030. This stuff's going to go on and on and on until they totally change civilization. And right now we're seeing the emergence of a top-down government and corporal feudal system being imposed on everybody. And, like I said, it's going to lead to another dark age. And so the first topic that I'm going to talk about in this changing of civilization is food, agriculture, and nutrition. So why is food and nutrition being attacked? It's, for a multitude of reasons. The elite always have multiple motivations for every policy that they set forward. You might think they're doing something for this reason, and when in actuality, it ties into 15 other reasons for why they're doing it. They have a lot of motivations. And if you think, they've been planning this reboot probably for 100 years, but they've just never had the technology until now to achieve those goals. So right now, I want you to hear John Kerry and what he says about agriculture.
Agriculture contributes about 33% of all the emissions of the world, depending a little bit on how you count it, but it's anywhere from 26 to 33. And we can't get to net zero. We don't get this job done unless agriculture is front and center as part of the solution. But with a growing population on the planet, we just crossed the threshold of 8 billion fellow citizens around the world. We just crossed that in this last year. Emissions from the food system alone are projected to cause another 0.5 degree of warming by mid-century on the current course that we are today. A 2-degree future could result in an additional 600 million people not getting enough to eat. And you just can't continue to both warm the planet while also expecting to feed it. Doesn't work. So we have to reduce emissions from the food system to keep the 1.5 degrees alive. Why do we have to keep 1.5 degrees alive? Because scientists, as a basis of physics and mathematics, not ideology and politics or party labels or anything else, as a matter of physics and mathematics and some biology and chemistry have told us these are the consequences. And we already see it happening. And almost everything they've predicted for 30 plus years now is coming true, but the problem is it's coming true faster and bigger than was in fact.
No, it's not coming true. They've been talking. I remember hearing this stuff, the whole climate change thing back when it was super big 20 years ago. I don't even think people even remember it. They were talking about the same stuff 20 years ago. And the stuff they said never happened. We've all seen the pictures of the Statue of Liberty 100 years ago where the water line was exactly where it is today. The sea levels aren't rising. Snow precipitation has not stopped. The stuff that they're saying is not true. And so what he's saying right now, what he just basically said is that if agriculture keeps going the way it is right now, it's going to warm the planet another 0.5 degree over the 1.5 degrees that they want to maintain. And what they're saying is when it warms that extra 0.5 degree, all of these people are going to starve, which I'm not sure how people will starve if the planet warms up another 0.5 degree. But in order for the elite to sell you your dim future, they have to use scare tactics. So he's suggesting to basically destroy present agriculture, because he's saying that the people are going to starve if the temperature goes up another 0.5 degree. But so what he's saying is that we need to totally change agriculture. You think that ain't going to make people starve? Well, it is. And we've been using these agricultural standards for thousands of years. So what they want is to be able to destroy or to replace the agriculture system that we're using now with a top-down, corporate, elite-controlled factory, crops being grown in vertical farms. That's what they want by corporations. They want to sell you all of this stuff, and they own the corporations, and then they'll own the food sources forever. And you'll always have to be going to the state or a corporation to get your food. And when they get rid of all the agriculture like they want, they're not talking about the large farms. They're talking about everybody. And they're talking about your little garden in your backyard. So let's get to the reasons why they are doing it. The first reason is they don't need you anymore, and they hate you. That's the one. And they have been using you for the last 100 years to get their corporations, to build their corporations up. I talked about this in another video, is that with the rise of AI and robotics and automation, there's no need to keep the human population healthy or happy. We have seen the elite describe the majority of the population as useless eaters. Before then, humans were needed to work and produce for the corporations, and that the elite had a vested interest in keeping these workers somewhat healthy and somewhat happy. Now that corporations can simply tap into AI and robotics, what reason is there to keep humans happy and healthy? So let's hear what Yuval Harari of the WEF thinks about it.
On the one hand, the emergence of a new upgraded elite of superhumans enhanced by bioengineering and brain-computer interfaces and things like that. And on the other hand, a new, massive, useless class. A class that has no military or economic usefulness, and therefore also no political power. On the one hand...
Okay, and let's listen to this one.
And then the big political and economic question of the 21st century will be, what do we need humans for? Or at least, what do we need so many humans for?
Do you have an answer in the book?
At present, the best guess we have is keep them happy with drugs and computer games.
So keep humans happy. They don't need you now, so let's keep them happy with drugs and video games. Do you think they want to feed you healthy food? Somebody who says that, drugs and video games, you think they want to give you healthy food? I don't think they do. The next reason is greed. So we got, they don't need you anymore. Now we're on to greed. Here's the deal though. The corporations elite don't need you, but they still need for you to give them your money. They still need profits, and they know that selling human food is still good business. But without the need to sell you healthy food, like we just talked about, that takes more time and money to produce, they will instead sell you basic forms of nutrition that will be printed or derived from plastic or insects. Why sell you grass-fed beef when they will be able to charge you the same amount, if not more, for factory 3D printed meat or a bag of cricket protein? So check this out. Let me find this. This is it. Okay, yeah. Here's a story where Tyson is partnering with a insect company to produce protein.
Tyson has reached an agreement for a twofold investment with Protix. It's a leading global insect ingredients company. That investment will support the growth of the emerging insect ingredient industry and expand the use of insect ingredient solutions. Tyson and Protix also joining together for the operation and construction of an insect ingredient facility. Once that is complete, it'll be the first at-scale facility of its kind to upcycle food manufacturing byproducts into high-quality insect proteins and lipids, primarily to be used in the pet food, aquaculture, and livestock industries.
Okay, do you think they're going to use this for pet food, or do you think they're saying that because they don't want you to know that they're going to sell you this as your food? It's not going to just be for pet food. This is going to be for us, and soon their chicken, this protein will be substituted for what Tyson used to sell you, and that was chicken protein. So let's go on to this headline. It is the world's largest cricket processing plant coming to, I guess that's London, Ontario. So now Canada has the largest cricket farm in the world. It will soon be home to the world's largest indoor cricket farm. And what's it say here? Crickets can be used in a number of ways for making high protein food, whether they are roasted whole or put into protein bars. So there you go. It's largest one in Canada. Now about these insects. I think he is a scientist, and he's talking about a substance called chitin that is found in insects. I want you to hear him real quick.
It's been shown contain a substance called chitin. There's a meme going around. You sort of see this stuff and you think, oh, is this fear mongering? Is this true? But I've looked into it, and it's actually true, folks. There's a lot of evidence that insects contain chitins. Chitins are very, very bad for humans. Chitins cause all sorts of problems, asthma, respiratory problems, all the things we're seeing from the jab. It also causes this thing called glioblastoma, which is a spinal cancer. Comes from chitins, and chitins cannot be cooked out of insects. There's no processing that will take these substances out of the insects. When you eat the insects, you are eating chitins. Chitins cannot be processed by the human body. You know, we don't eat insects, folks. You know, birds, chickens, lizards, reptiles, these things eat insects. Fish eat insects. We don't eat insects. We don't have the digestive system to be able to process certain things that are found in insects, such as chitins. And like I said, they can't be processed out. They cannot be cooked out. They are always there. So if you're eating little insect snacks or eating insectin burgers, you're eating chitins, folks, and you're going to make yourself very sick.
Okay, that's great. And so there's the insect thing. Now we move on to the scientists and the military want us to eat food made from plastic. And I have a little news article about this, but basically they're going to take all the landfills and turn them into more protein powder. Let me play this video.
A plant-based protein powder. But what if the next alternative was made out of plastic? There's new research that could make it a reality.
All right, Stacey Delcat talked to a scientist about the process that could help fight hunger and pollution. Food shortages are worsening around the world, and the plastic pollution crisis continues to intensify. What if there was one solution to both of these problems? A Michigan scientist thinks there could be.
What we're trying to do is to use microbes to take plastic and other inedible plant material and turn that into something that's nutritious.
The idea is to turn components of plastic into protein and other nutrients like fats and sugars. If that sounds kind of gross to you, well,
I don't want to eat plastic either. What we're trying to do is to take that plastic and turn it into something completely different.
Steve Techman, an environmental microbiologist and an associate professor at Michigan Technological University, and his colleagues were just honored with a more than $1 million Future Insight Prize from a German company that will...
Okay, you get the idea. He's saying that they'll turn them into fats and sugars. These plastic is junk. There's nothing in it. It's not like taking a cow that has nutrients, zinc, iron, and all these nutrients, and then you turn that into a meat, and then you absorb these nutrients. Plastic don't have those nutrients in it. They're missing all the macronutrients and the micronutrients that you need. It's just, what they're talking about is taking a bacteria that's probably lab grown. The bacteria is probably synthetic as well. It'll break it down and it'll excrete these lipids. But these lipids, to me, and I'm not a scientist, but this doesn't sound very healthy. And here's something I saw. Now, because I'm trying to wrap this up for part one, and I'll do a part two. But this is a video here talking about the footage emerges from the Palace of Versailles last night. Sickeningly opulent event with the WEF, Charles, and Macron. So there's a dinner with King Charles and Macron, and we can see through clips here, look at where they're eating. It doesn't look like they're bringing out trash protein for these people. This is how they eat. Look at the way they're dressed. They have pride. They want nutrition. They want to stay young to spend their money. They're not eating junk from landfills and cricket protein. So why should we? I don't want to. And there is another video that you should watch. It's called The Farmer and His Prince, and it basically shows King Charles's large organic farms. Remember, he's telling you that you need to eat plastic, you can't drive your car, and he's got a large organic farm where he raises cattle that are grass-fed, sheep, crops that are, there's a scene in here too where this dude is bending over, smelling the soil. And look at how particular they are about their food. This guy's smelling the soil. I don't know what that does, but they want to make sure that they get their nutrients so they stay alive forever, while you die when you're 50 or 30 or 40, or your whole family dies because you've been eating nothing but cancer-ridden food. Either way, if this documentary is out there, you should go check it out. And I think I'm going to end it here for this one. So on this was part one. Because I don't want these videos to be too long, I'm going to do part two. Thanks for listening, and please like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Thank you.